These are the batteries, the engine. The core of it is so simple, so few parts. Hi, welcome to the video. And earlier this week, it was announced that Aptera, the solar electric car with 1,000 miles of range, gets $4 million in backing with more than 7,000 pre-orders. In this video, we'll go over their press release straight from their website, and then we'll also take a look at their funder presentation in case you want to invest in this company. This was from earlier this year, but I think it'd be helpful to look at because not that much has changed. First, a little bit of background in case you're not familiar with this car. I've made a couple of other videos about it, which I'll link below. This is being marketed as the most efficient electric car in the world. It can go up to 1,000 miles. Actually, wouldn't even need to charge it if you just drive under 40 miles a day because the hood, the trunk, this whole top section of the car is covered in solar panels, or it can be upgraded so every inch is covered in solar panels. And it's super light, and you can see that it's built to decrease drag and to have superior aerodynamics. This is Aptera's second go. The company was created in 2006. Unfortunately, it didn't work out at the time, but then they've recently revisited the project, and these numbers, 7,000 pre-orders, that's a big deal. The pre-orders cost about $100 each, so that's about $7 million right here. The vehicle itself starts at $25,900. That's a basic model with just 250 miles of range, but you can also configure it with the battery pack that extends the range to 400 miles for about $30,000 and 600 miles for $35,000 and 1,000 miles for $45,000. So that is still quite pricey, but for 1,000 miles, that should eliminate any sort of range anxiety people might have. That's a common worry for people that drive electric cars, that what if I run out of electricity and I run out of energy? Even though Tesla has built a lot of charging stations everywhere, it's still not as prevalent as gas stations. I think with 1,000-mile range, you don't really have to worry anymore, and that's what makes Aptera so special. But let's take a look at their actual release. Aptera Motors announced it has closed its round of Series A funding, accepting a total of over $4 million. Aptera's continued momentum has now garnered it over 7,000 vehicle reservations in just over 2 months, totaling $250 million in orders. The solar electric vehicle company is backed by crowdfunders, private investors, and automotive leaders such as Sandy Munro of Munro & Associates. If you're not familiar with Sandy Munro, he is a very, very well-respected engineer figure in the automotive industry. He's also recently interviewed Elon Musk. He just has a lot of experience. So having him on board is really helpful, and it gives Aptera a lot more credibility. The funding actually occurred on a site called WeFunder, and you can see here it raised over $4 million from 4,000 investors. And this funding is currently closed right now, but they did say that they would announce or release another round of funding late February to early March. I'm not sure if that changed. I believe they were also saying it might likely be on WeFunder again. I will update you as soon as I know. But here's a comment from Sandy Munro, quote, "I'm betting on a solar future and I'm betting on Aptera. The industry needs more creative engineering like this to progress ahead. I'm happy to be assisting Aptera as they move into production and beyond." Like I said, I really like this design. I like how bold it is and that they're taking a big risk. Hopefully it pays off. Now on to the rest of this release. Earlier this month, Aptera moved into a new production design facility in Sorrento Valley area, part of San Diego. Part of a 60,000 square foot campus, the facility will be home to Aptera's 3 completed vehicles and a team of development engineers. Areas of focus will be advanced 3D printing, composites, UI UX development, and battery technologies development. As the company expands, Aptera will be evaluating additional locations for production of facilities in San Diego and around the world. With only 4 key structural parts, Aptera's unique body shape allows it to slip through the air using far less energy than other electric and hybrid vehicles on the road today. Learn more and configure your vehicle at aptera.us. So you can check out the other videos if you want to see a more detailed look at the specs of the car. But today, we're actually going to look at their presentation. So this was a presentation that they made for investors. And I glanced through it. This still all holds true, and it gives you a little bit of insight into what Aptera thinks is very, very attractive for potential customers or investors. So it starts off with modernizing vehicle design and manufacturing. Go to the second slide. Radically simplified EV manufacturing platform. They say it's half the cost to build, 3x more efficient, and 100% safe and reliable. This all remains to be seen. Again, remember, this is a presentation from Aptera, so it's going to be a little bit biased. So we have to be a little bit skeptical when we're reading through these, but it doesn't mean we can't be excited about the possibilities. This slide, they're saying the legacy of auto manufacturing is this. They're calling out Tesla for being a little bit inefficient in that they're too similar to the legacy auto manufacturers. And they're saying presently they have the lowest manufacturing costs, they can scale faster, reduced part count, less labor and less space. I think these last 2 points are definitely true. This will remain to be seen. It's hard to say. They haven't really gotten their start yet other than just locating where they want to build their factory. This is a speculative pipeline. So right now they have a Roadster, but they also might be planning a sedan, crossover, utility vehicle, and eventually a semi. This one I'm a little bit questionable on. This space is already becoming so crowded with many companies that are just dedicated to making semis, such as Hyliion and Nikola, and even Tesla's making semis. So this I'm not sure, but it'd be really cool if they could take their high efficiency approach and apply it to actual cars. Because remember, this car, the Roadster, because it only has 3 wheels, it's actually considered a motorcycle. And I think a lot of people still might be skeptical because it doesn't seem as safe as a 4-wheel car. This is really cool. So Aptera only has 4 key structural parts, like we said before, compared to Tesla's 200 plus. And they keep calling out Tesla, which I don't really like, but I totally understand because this maybe is who they're competing with. And Tesla's 200 parts is already way less than a classic ICE car. So they're both doing better than ICE cars. But yeah, I really like this. This will definitely make it a lot cheaper to build. And later down the slides, we'll see actually what the Aptera looks like. And there are a lot fewer parts, which means they can make it for cheaper. Rapid and inexpensive scaling. They are just using 3D printing tools to make those parts that we looked at. And that definitely is a lot cheaper. This is also something Tesla is doing. They are aggressively eliminating parts. What used to take 100 parts, they can just print out. And Tesla has some of those machines that can do that. And with Monroe on board, I believe Aptera can also figure this out. Efficient powertrains, not much to say here. Aerodynamics, this is a big deal. You can see these are, I guess, the wind, how wind would travel around it. And it's a lot more efficient than big, flat, 90-degree boxy cars that actually take up a lot of energy. So this is what Aptera is about. Greater than 1,000 miles. 1,000 miles is already impressive enough. When they're saying greater, I imagine they're taking into account that if you were to rest or you're in a highly sunlit area, the car could surpass this amount, or if you're driving at a certain speed. But this is a little bit aggressive. Still, I want to see these cars and I want to do a range test first before we can make claims like these. Solar power is integral to the platform, so you can see this top of this car. It looks so cool. Look at that. It's all solar panels, this really flat design, kind of like a duck beak, but I think it looks cool. We see where there's hot spots. Most of the Earth does have sun. The usefulness of Aptera would definitely decrease if you get into this northern areas where there just isn't as much sunlight, but for a majority of our continents, there's a lot of sun. They will have autonomous driving software. I think for now, it's just going to be advanced lane assist level. They have not really mentioned full self-driving being in the immediate future. This is just a graph projecting how big the electric vehicle market will be. By 2040, it should account for 35% of all new vehicle sales. I think it should be closer to 50%, if not a majority of car sales. If by 2040, we're still buying ICE cars, I think something has gone wrong. Let's just skip to some pictures. And this is the picture I wanted to show. Look how simple the actual core of what makes Aptera run is. This is it. This right here, These are the batteries, the engine, and that's it. Now you can see why Aptera is so compelling, because the core of it is so simple, so few parts. All we have to do is make this and add the shell, and then you're done. You have an Aptera car, and I'm actually surprised it would even cost as much as $40,000. I think they could definitely get the price down. I love these doors. And then for this final slide, you can convert the back into a camping adventure thing. And these are add-ons actually in the site that you can do. This is their rough timeline that we can expect things to be happening. They're going to start pre-production soon, and then they want to ramp up production to 10,000 per year, and then finally by the end of 2022 they project or have a goal of having 4,000 units delivered, and by 2023 10,000 units delivered. So right now we have 7,000 pre-orders, so you could roughly expect to get your vehicle starting at the end of 2022. This is assuming they don't have any delays. But yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think about Aptera. What do you think about the numbers? $4 million is Series A funding and $250 million in order is nothing to scoff at, but for an EV company, it's still not a lot of money. And again, they are still a very, very young company, so there are still a lot of risks. There are so many EV companies popping up nowadays. The reality is not all of them are going to survive. What I like about Aptera though is it's doing something very, very different. So if you have a good chance of failure, you might as well swing as hard as you can. And I think that's what Aptera is doing. I really like their car design. I really hope they succeed. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, or give me comments on what other topics you want me to talk about. This is Green Knight Trading, where Squires become knights. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.